Hello, I'm Uncle Matty, and welcome to the Matty Nation channel. Today in the tank, I'm going to be adding some alien life forms to my new aquascape. Can you tell what they are? But first, let's go back. If you've been watching my previous videos, then you'll know I needed a name for my new aquascape. Well, the people have spoken, and the name that you have chosen for this new aquascape is Matlantis. And I really couldn't have came up with a better name myself. So let's get right to the first feeding of my new living creatures, these majestic Tetra. Now, these guys were a bit wussy in the first few days. They mostly just hung out underneath the plants, emerging only to feast upon these delicious fishy flakes, which I feed them daily. But you can see once they've had their fun with the flakes, they pretty much just, if you'll forgive my language, sod back off under those plants back there, like a bunch of little fannies. So it wasn't very exciting in the first few days with these guys. But then we really started bonding. And, you know, after a few days, I'd come up to the tank and would be greeted by 7 little blue smiling faces. You can see them here dancing before me at the glass, waiting to get fed, really. They're gannets. So once I feed them now, you can see them zipping about here. And I wouldn't want to be a fishy flavoured flake in that tank, because, ooh Nelly, you're about to get your butt bit off these buggers. So yeah, we started getting on a bit more. There was only supposed to be 6 that I bought at the shop, but when I got home, maybe it was a Christmas miracle, but there's 7. So for now, I'm just gonna shut up a little bit while we watch in wonder at these awe-inspiring creatures. Some of the more eagle-eyed viewers out there might have noticed these other strange inhabitants sharing Matlantis with the new Tetra. I got 3 of these little pagoda snails to eat some of the algae, and I absolutely love them. They're just a real thrill ride to watch. Couldn't help feeling a bit sorry for these guys, more down to their design really, having to lug them big shells around. They certainly don't seem like the most graceful creatures as they sort of lug that big weird thing around behind them everywhere. You can often see that black disc that covers the hole when they hide in their shell. They kind of remind me of little elephants. You see the sort of elephant skin there. I've initially put all these snails in a corner and they've sort of spread their way around. a couple of them got on very well indeed. The one in the background there seems to like the one in the foreground a little more than the one in the foreground likes the other. Kind of just looks like he wants to get away. I did read after acquiring these beasts that they like to burrow in the dirt, so I do kind of wish I had a finer grained substance for them to burrow into. Maybe they'll prefer the soil as opposed to this quite coarse gravel. Just when he thought he'd almost got away, the other one came and got him again. And I've put this footage back down to normal speed because it was all getting a bit too exciting at double speed there. And you can see up on the branch here, this guy's having a look over at the other two and just thinking, what on earth are those two doing? Get a room, you guys. He doesn't want to look at that, he's off. He's going to make his elegant getaway as he gracefully escapes across the branch there. And I did think some of the stunts these guys were pulling do look a bit painful, really. Part of me even wondered if I should pop in and help them, but I decided not to intervene and to let nature take its course. I would be but an observer on this aquatic adventure. I'm a bit like Attenborough, really, but instead of going out into the wild and just observing them, I've got them in a glass box in my living room, which is something Attenborough would never do. I feel I should stress that. I don't think Attenborough would do that. I don't want to make Attenborough look bad. But I feel a bit bad now, watching these guys struggle in the glass prison I've forced them into, really. But still, very beautiful creatures to look at. So as well as the plants and the Tetra and the 3 snails, of course, there were some other inhabitants. I got to live in Matlantis, another few algae eaters, the biggest of whom is making an appearance here. He's crawling out from under his log where he lives. Maybe you won't be able to spot him in the shadows there. This guy's called Big Jimmy, and he lives under the log. He's like Lord of the Log, for want of a better term. And he's coming out here to have a little explore. But he's obviously seen the snail and thought better of it. And he's gone back to his burrow from whence he came. That's just a classic Big Jimmy move. And if you enjoy any of the music you hear on tonight's programme, go ahead and check out my good friend HeatPod's music. It's available to stream and download on Spotify now and all other major streaming platforms. Or if you really like it, why not go get yourself a free download? You can get that through the link in the description down below. And that takes us on now to the final new members of Matlantis, my Amano Shrimp. Here you can see Forrest and Bubba pooing everywhere and sitting on this log, eating up whatever they can find. These guys originate from Japan, and I believe they're guys. I've read online, males have spots on the side, whereas females have more like little dashes, as well as like an egg sac type thing on the front. Although weirdly, these won't breed in fresh water. In the wild, they swim out to the sea, get busy, and then do the breeding, and then come back to fresh water as an adult, where they don't breed. So there'll be no breeding going on in my tank, thank you very much. And there are a couple of real characters, these guys. I mean, I don't like to favouritize, but yeah, these two are my two favourites. I didn't actually notice when I was recording the footage, or I would have stopped. It's a bit awkward, but Forrest on the bottom there is actually taking a poo here. You can see it coming out, and then he actually moves back and proceeds to eat it. So that's a bit disgusting. Thankfully, you see him spit it back out here, so, you know, he does have some manners. And you can see them both giving themselves a bit of a clean up here, so they are somewhat of a cleanly beast, despite the whole eating their own poo thing earlier. I like how, if you look at Forrest on the bottom there, you can see him cleaning one set of legs at a time, and then he'll sort of put them to the side and do the next set of legs. And here he is, Big Jimmy. Can't stand anyone else getting the limelight, so he's come to show his face. Now, I love Big Jimmy, always have, I always will, but I probably shouldn't have put him in here when the plants and that were this fresh. With the experience I've got now, doing it again, I would leave that, especially that grass stuff, I'd leave that in to get rooted for at least a month before putting one of these guys in, because he's just went round digging up my old garden. That's just what Big Jimmy does. You can see him here. He doesn't, I don't think he really means to, but he doesn't have much respect for plants. He tends to just go around willy-nilly with his big legs digging up the joint. And I'm saying I'm going to share you some more information with you. I think Big Jimmy's probably a girl. Jemima, probably. I'll just call her Jimmy. So yeah, sorry to get confusing halfway through the video, but I'm going to start addressing her as Jimmy now. What's it matter anyway, you know, really, him, her. Yeah, it's 2019, guys. And after adding Jimmy to the tank, I've since found most of this dwarf grass floating around on the surface where she's dug it up. It's a bit like Charlie Dimmock or something, but a little shrimp, quite a big shrimp for
for the kind of shrimp it is. She's just seen her own reflection there. She's a bit freaked out. I think even the girl in the pet shop was a bit freaked out by her. Yeah, she doesn't like the look of that. She's off. She's all like, no, I used to be a famous celebrity gardener who's turned me into a shrimp. Here you can see her rearranging some of the other plants in the garden. I'd tell you what they were, but I've forgotten, and I didn't keep the packets. Obviously doesn't like how I've planted these ones, and there's rearranging them. I mean, how am I supposed to keep a nice garden with Jimmy going around rooting up the spot? Look at all the grass there, ruined. But anyway, one thing I forgot to tell you about Forrest and Bubba is they're quite cheeky. You can see him here peeking out, peek-a-boo, doing a little poo and then hiding. He likes to play hide and seek with me, Bubba. You can see here, Forrest did try to make an escape not long after I got him through the filter, but thankfully he didn't get too far and he gave up pretty quick. Poor Gary, who's the snail by the way, I forgot to mention, can't get a minute's peace in this tank without Forrest coming and pestering the life out of him. And so to end today's video, here you can see Big Jimmy being fed some delicious pellets. She wasn't very sure at first, but pretty soon you'll see her little hands frantically grabbing at them, furiously shoving as much into her face as she can. I'm not so sure if she gets more on her face or in her face when she's eating Jimmy. She doesn't seem a very clean eater. Makes a right mess. Look at all that food come flying back out of the gob there. I think she's just chewing it up and spitting it out. So yeah, so far my plans to get Amano Shrimp to help clean up the tank aren't really panning out as I'd expected. Jimmy's taken it upon herself to both eat messily and dig up my entire garden. And that's pretty much it for today's video. If you do want to see any more, why not drop a comment down below, or go ahead and like the video, or subscribe to get more updates. I actually filmed this video about 3 weeks ago. I made it too complicated for myself editing it. So there's been a few new revelations which I shall inform you of soon. See you next time, Madimation fans.